What's up, guys? Stein back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to title this video, Never Give Up. Never give up on your health, never give up on your wealth, and never give up on your relationships. The three most important areas of life to never, ever give up on. Because we have to master these three to live a good life. And there's no point in depression, there's no point in any of these things getting down on yourself if you're not mastering all of these three, because you can always improve and you always can get better until the day you die. And that is the final day that we never know. None of us know what happens when we die, and none of us know when we will die. But we know that if we master these three areas, that we're going to live a happy life. Because as Sigmund Freud says, is that people, we want pleasure and we want to live and we want to be happy, as Sigmund Freud basically says in his book the Discontents. I forgot what it was called. Tai Lopez recommended it on his top 5 recommended books of all time. And yeah, so human beings, like I said before, pain or pleasure, you either want to move towards pain or away from, or towards pleasure and away from pain. So that's what we strive for every single day. And in order to do this, we want to do things that we want to do every single day as our time goes by, as it's going to go by regardless. We want to do things that we actually are genuinely happy about doing, and things that improve our lives, things that have an ROI, return on investment. So for example, if you play video games for 3 hours per day, there's no ROI, there's no return on investment. You're not getting anything out of playing video games, because you're sitting there with a controller in hand looking at a screen, and it doesn't do anything for you. This is why I always like to reference, like, back, I was just thinking of this last night, like back in the day, like there was no TV, no phones, all this stuff. You actually had to do things, and that's what we're getting trapped nowadays, by watching too much television, spending too much time on our phones, playing too many video games, all these things that technology has advanced to take us away from what really matters and what's really important. And like I said, it's your health, it's your wealth, and it's your relationships. Those are the top 3 most important areas of life. And those are where your top 3 attention span needs to go. It doesn't need to go towards TV, it doesn't need to go towards video games, none of that stuff. This is why I'm just a big proponent on avoiding alcohol, drugs, anything, video games, just any of that stuff that just slows you down, and it just puts you off track of where you actually want to go. Because we all have goals, like I've talked about before, and we all want to move in a certain direction. We all want to have a better body. We all want to be healthier than we are. We all want certain things. And if we're on social media all day and looking at what other people are, what they're doing, then we're taking away from ourselves, and we're taking away from what we can do, what we can accomplish. And this is why I deleted Instagram, Snapchat, all these apps, Facebook. Those are the main 3 that just take away. Like YouTube, for example, this social media platform can actually get you better, though. This app can improve your life, because I've talked about this before, and my mentor has mentioned it. FitX Fearless says that anything you want to do or accomplish is going to be on YouTube. Everything. There's everything on YouTube, anything you need. And this is why you got to keep YouTube. But social media will just drain your energy, drain your focus, because the 3, Tai Lopez says, the 2 most scarcest things are your time and your energy. So we want those things, like I talked about before. We want to have our time spent on things we actually genuinely want to do. We want our time to be spent on things that, like I said, have an ROI, return on investment. So you want to be working out every day. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going for a walk, if you're going for a run, if you're going to weight train, you want to be working out every single day, because it'll have an ROI, it'll have a return on investment. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel more confident. You'll spark better conversations, because you're not afraid to talk to that person that you were afraid to talk to before, because you were insecure with yourself. And this is why it resonates with me so much, because the more that I read books, the 3 most important areas of life, I'm so glad that I found that out, especially at an early age, like 23. I just got out of college, so this will benefit me my whole life of knowing the three most important areas of life, because I see this in other people too. Like, this person has this, they don't have this. This person has this, and they have this, and they have this. Okay, what are they doing differently than me to get all these areas? But what are these other people doing that I'm doing that they're not doing? So, for example, an obese person, they're smoking cigarettes all the time and they're eating junk food. Like, there's a clear example of what they're doing all the time. So I like to get inside. I like to get inside people's minds, hack their brain, basically ask them questions like, why can't you go to bed earlier? Why can't you go to bed earlier so you can get more sleep, so that way you're going to be able to get more done the next day? And they always respond with some, oh, I can't do that. I gotta watch this movie. It's like, no, you don't. You don't have to watch that movie. This is why when I watch movies or documentaries, I like to stick to only movies or documentaries, because movies can be either inspiring, like, for example, A Miracle, Rocky, those kind of movies that inspire you. You can learn from them. What did they do to, especially Rocky, because he was 1 to a million shot to getting nowhere. And what did he do to get to the very bottom, to rise all the way to the top and but he lasted all the rounds with Apollo Creed. And that's what David Goggins talks about in his book, is like, he would always remind himself of that scene where those rounds where Rocky is just getting beat up. And I have a quote in my room. It says, it's Rocky's famous line that he's ever said. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. What matters is how hard you can get hit, and how much you can come back and get up from that hit. And that's why Rocky is a very, very, title of this video, Never Give Up. This Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, is a very, very, he's a fine proponent of this saying, never give up, because he was at the bottomest of the bottom and he rose himself all the way to the top. Keep in mind, this was a day and age where this was, wire technology was not in place, so he didn't have those distractions like now. All of us right now have a ton of distractions, like I just talked about. All these social media is probably the biggest distraction there is, and there's no doubt about it. Like, anything, television, social media, video games, anything with a screen on it is going to be one of your biggest distractions, besides this app that you're using, because you actually can use this app to get better and to improve your life. So we want to eliminate all possible distractions. Elliot Hulse, he said that he's in his 40s now, 30s or 40s. I don't know how old he is, but he said he's glad in his 20s that he didn't have social media to deal with in his 20s, because that way he was allowed to focus on other things, focus on other areas to improve on, instead of getting distracted like we all do. We all get distracted by social media. That's why I had to delete it, and that's why I had to get rid of it. And we all get distracted by these apps and constantly, like, especially on Instagram. Instagram is a huge one, where you compare yourself to a lot of people because they post pictures, and then you look at the picture and it's obviously going to be a very good picture of them, and you compare yourself to say, wow, they're living their life so much better than I am right now, and it makes you feel very inferior. And as human beings, we don't want to feel inferior. We want to feel superior, and we want to feel good. And when we look at somebody else like that, living an amazing life, it puts us at an inferior state, and we don't want to feel that way. So you completely eliminate distractions, and you positively invest in things that are going to have a good ROI. For example, I like to say reading books, working out. Those are like the top 2 areas that will have a return on your investment, because if you don't know how to do something, it's either going to be here on YouTube on this app, or it's going to be in books. It's going to be working out will give you ideas as well. It'll make you more creative and make you more of a inspiring individual. Like, when I work out, I like to listen to audiobooks and podcasts, things like that, because music is more of a feeling and it makes you feel good. And I just want to acquire as much information as possible here on Earth. Like I talked about, I think Albert Einstein said that the more that I learn, the more I realize I do not know, and that's 100% the truth. So I always want to learn every single day. This is why 75 Hard, I talked about Andy Frisella's program, is so important. You read 10 pages of a non-fiction personal development self-help slash book, because it will improve your life and make that return on investment satisfactory, because we're always going to be consuming information. We're going to be consuming, but what are we producing? For example, working out. I talked about this before. We want to be working out. We don't want to be watching videos of working out. We want to be working out. We want to produce. Action, as my mentor FitX Fearless says. We want to be producing and not consuming as much. We want to produce more than consume, because if you consume more than you produce, you're going to live an unhappy and unfulfilled life that you're not going to be happy. As Sigmund Freud, we want to be our happiest, and the way to do that is to produce and not consume, to put more action into what areas that you want to improve, because we all want to improve in a certain area. And those are the areas: your health, your wealth, your relationship. Find out a way to improve in one of these 3 areas. Find out a way to improve your health. You want to look better, you want to feel better, work out, and eat right. It's very, very simple. Those are the 2 main things you need to do. And it's that simple. It's really that simple. You have to do it on a consistent basis, day to day to day. And this is why I like to title this video Never Give Up, because we always feel at a point where we may feel like giving up, and there's really no point, because we're going to die anyways. So if you give up now, then you're going to have that regret for the rest of your life, that you gave up at a point where you didn't know what you could accomplish if you actually tried and you actually put 100% effort in. And that's what Wayne Gretzky says, his famous quote: you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So go out there, get better, improve, take action, and never give up on your life. That is the video for today. Like the video, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and we'll see you in the next video.